Hello, welcome back. So today I'm doing a different video than what I had originally planned. What I originally planned was still a book related video, but I thought I don't know if I'm ready for that video yet, so I've the video shelved for now. I'll be getting a different kind of video today. And before I get into what today's video is going to be, I just wanted to address I did decide to enlist last week's video, which was my video on Candace Owens, and the reasons for that. So one, I was not proud of the way I had eventually done it. Like, I did watch some of Candace's stuff for myself, but it was still mainly going off of what other people were saying, and I didn't really see a lot of the things that I was talking about for myself, I would say. So that was one reason why I decided to enlist that. And also, the second reason was because, like, I'm trying to, as much as I don't want this to be a solely books channel, I am trying to build, like, a following of, like, a mainly bookish thing. And not that I think that many bookish people are caught up in the Candace cult, but, like, I just don't want the people who are here for the bookish content to, like, see that and be like, what the heck is this? I didn't sign up for this. So yeah, there was that. Hopefully you understand, like, all those things, and yeah, we'll get onto it. So today, as you can see from the title, I titled it talking about random bookish things, and basically what this is a series of things book related that I each wanted to talk about, but not one was enough for a full video, so I decided to, like, put them all in here. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about random bookish things. So yeah, let's get into it. Sorry that I was kind of like fixing my hair in the last clip, but it's still not being stubborn. Right, there we go. Alright, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was my book journal. Believe it or not, I do have a book journal. This is it right here. And I have another notebook that's exactly like this. The only reason that distinguishes this one is the sticky note on the front that says reading journal. So yeah, I'm going to talk about my book journal. It's kind of a mess. So when I started this book journal, it was mainly to keep track of where I was in the book I was reading and, like, thoughts along the way. Over time, it's kind of evolved into more than that. I started a while ago, like, writing down books that I was interested in that I wanted to do research before adding them to my TBR. That's what I'm, and that's what a good amount, not a good amount of these. That's what I use it for a lot. And then also another thing that started, I'm not sure when this started, but instead of, like, journaling as I go thoughts on the book, I wanted to write down the book and keep track of the day I started and finished it, because I wanted to be able to record that accurately for Goodreads. So yeah, there's that. There's a few things I've used it for other things, like I think recently when I did my vlogs, my past 2 vlogs recently, I wrote down thoughts in here because I wanted to remember thoughts that I had during the night, but I couldn't pick up the camera and record them. I wanted to have those thoughts in there so I wouldn't forget them the next morning. And then also says if any bookish thing I'm trying to figure out, like, I remember last year I wrote down the books that I was thinking of including in, like, my best books video, but it was a bit too early to be doing the notes for those. So yeah, that's what it is. This is kind of a mess, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And, like, the more that I think about it, this is more of like a book notebook than a book journal. I wouldn't have it any other way, like those aesthetic book journals that you kind of see. I don't think I'm in a place in my life where I could do that right now. So this is what works for me, and that is that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was popular books / series that I'm kind of interested in, but because they are popular, I don't really want to prioritize reading them, because I'm trying to I want one of the main things on my channel to be obscure books, and these are not that. So yeah, let's just get into it. The first book, kind of interested in but don't want to prioritize is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. And what's interesting that I've kind of learned in the past few days, it seems like Lynn Painter is a bit controversial as a YA author. Like some people think that with the amount of language in her YA books that they shouldn't be considered YA or like stuff like that. There's like more to it than that. This seems to be one of the cleaner, better ones. Like, and it sounds good as well, but it's popular. It's very popular, so I don't really want to read it. I saw in the comments a while ago someone was comparing another book to Better Than the Movies, but this book is nowhere near as well known as that. So I think I kind of thought, oh, I'll just read that book instead of reading Better Than the Movies. So, yep, there's that. And then the next thing that I was kind of interested in but don't want to prioritize is the Fog Harbor series by Nicole Deese. So it would kind of think it'd be a natural progression that after reading the Mackenzie family romance duology that I would read the Fog Harbor series next. And it does sound kind of interesting, but I see these books come up like over and over again, and like that kind of, I feel like the more I see a book come up, the less I am interested in reading it. So yeah, that is the case for this book. Although what was interesting about not wanting to prioritize a popular book, another Nicole Deese book that is on my TBR is Before I Called You Mine, which it seems according to Goodreads is Nicole Deese's most popular book. But that one's on my TBR, not the Fog Harbor series, but I guess to justify that, to me, Before I Called You Mine doesn't come up as much, and like that one sounded more interesting than Fog Harbor. So I mean, maybe I'll get around to it eventually, but right now don't really want to prioritize it. The last thing, the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, and I guess by extension the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So I did read Once Upon a Broken Heart, the first book, 2 years ago. It was I enjoyed like the first 2 parts of it, but the third part I was kind of like, I know, not into this as much. And apparently you're supposed to read the Caraval series first. I mean, it sounds kind of interesting, I guess, and it's apparently clean, I guess, or like, yeah, I don't really know, but yeah, so I am kind of interesting. I also heard, well, I think, well, what I might do, I heard that Once Upon a Broken Heart, there's a 4th book coming out, which is like, what? This is like a lot. So now I'm kind of wondering if maybe I should wait, because there's people talking about, like, oh, waiting to read series until they're completed. So I think I might do that with this, like, wait for the 4th book to come out, or whenever the series is gonna end, and then maybe I'll consider it more. So we'll see. Next up, I have in my notes correcting things from anti-TBR tag, but I don't know about correcting things, maybe more just like adding things to it. So yeah, a while ago I was watching my anti-TBR tag video. Yes, I do watch my own videos sometimes, whatever. So yeah, I was watching it, and I was kind of thinking about some of the things I said, and thinking like, yeah, I don't. So the first thing, so I said for the question, genre you have no interest in or genre you tried to get into and couldn't, I said that when I was in my I need to be drawn into really like it phase, that I couldn't get into fantasy. But it was kind of like, oh, well, is that still a thing now? And to find out in the next video, oh no, that's not the case anymore. So yeah, clearly fantasy is not a genre that I've tried to get into and can't anymore. So what should I have said for that question instead? So thinking about it now, I don't know now if there's a genre that I've tried to get into and can't. I mean, I guess you could say romance books, but like I don't think I'm gonna stop reading romance books anytime soon. And like you can't escape romance, it seems sometimes. So I feel like I can't really say that, but I do have some ideas for like more like genre no interest in. Now, one genre I was considering saying but decided not to because I was like, well, I don't know if it's like zero interest, was horror. That was a genre that I was thinking, but it was more like, well, it's not that I'm not interested, it's just that I'm a scaredy cat, so I don't want to. So yeah, there's that. And there have been a few books where I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, but oh, it's horror. And there was one book that I'd heard it was horror, but I was still interested in, and now I still probably won't read it because it's apparently got content problems, and that is the book Bunny by Mona Awad. I think when I heard that this one might be horror, I was like, no, it can't be, which, like, I don't know, can't really speak to that. I think I was interested in because, like, this talk about the main character sees this, like, group of girls that, like, I don't know, they kind of give Mean Girls vibes, but also kind of cultish, so I thought that was interesting, but apparently content problems, and I don't know to what extent this is horror, but yeah, probably not, so probably won't read horror, but I don't know if I can say I'm zero interested in. But I did think there's another genre that I've seen come up that I don't really have an interest in, and that is romantic suspense. I can't really say suspense because I did accidentally read a suspense book, which was Sketchy Behavior by Aaron Mangum. So, but yeah, romantic suspense. I think, and for me, this is like a theme in this video. It seems like every Christian booktuber and their mothers reads Christian romantic suspense, and I'm just like, not interested. I don't. No thanks for me. So yeah, so there was that. I guess that's what I would say for a series I have no interest in if I were to do this tag now, but obviously too late for that. And then another series I was thinking of there. I mean, for my first question, when I said a popular book everyone loves but you have no interest in reading, I said first the Hunger Games series, but there's also a question about a series where it says a series you have no interest in. And then there was another series that I thought of that it seems everyone loves, but I also don't really have an interest in, so I guess I'll talk about that series now, and that is Harry Potter. Now, I will say that, of course, there has been some controversies over the past, since the time it's been out. Like, I know for Christians, they feel like it's like normalizing witchcraft, which I don't know about that. So that doesn't factor in to my no interest. And then I know in recent years, J.K. Rowling has gotten in trouble because she said things like biological sex exists and women only spaces are important, but like that's certainly not a factor. I don't think that should be controversial to say. It's just like I'm not interested. It doesn't sound that interesting to me, and of course, the fact that it's very popular doesn't help. So, yeah, that's moving on. So this next segment is actually correcting things from past videos. So I have a small correction from my Just Out of Curiosity video, wherein I read Redeeming Love, and I was confused because I thought I heard people saying that like Michael rapes Angel, but then I realized looking back that they were talking about Paul doing that, and at the time in the video I said, okay, that's fair. I take that back now. It's not, I think defining sex by coercion as rape is like, that can lead to, that kind of leads to like the idea that like sex from like any kind of convincing or sweet talk or flattery or whatever, that would now be considered rape, which I don't think is a good place to be in. So yeah, I do correct that. I mean, certainly in a lot of cases, sex by coercion may not be great, but you gotta be careful about the words we use. And then, so already in my books I've read but aren't clean video, I said in the video that I was mistaken about one of the books that I thought wasn't clean, actually wasn't clean. Like that was the book Darling Girls. I thought I was reading it. There was a part that I felt like I skipped over. So I thought that that was a sex scene. But looking at reviews, I found out, oh, wait, that actually wasn't, because the only other person who's mentioned it is a person like me who skipped over it. So there's that. But there was another book that I thought wasn't clean, but then looking at reviews, find out, oh, wait, it actually might be. And that is Tilly in Technicolor by Maisie Eddings. So this one I didn't get to part that I felt like I had to skip. I got about halfway through and I was annoyed by things and felt like the romance wasn't worth reading about to continue to suffer the annoying things. But then I thought I'd seen somewhere this was Open Door. But then I look at reviews and they say there's no spice. So, yeah, and I feel bad about that one because I did throw out my copy of Tilly in Technicolor after thinking that it wasn't clean. But then now I'm finding out later that it's not. I kind of feel bad about doing that, and I don't think I would pick it up again still because of the things that I read that I didn't like. So, yeah, there's still many other books I want to read, so I don't think I'm going to go back to that. So, yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk about, I feel like this is kind of a thing of hardcovers versus paperbacks. I feel like there's a lot of people have a preference for one. Interestingly, I've seen in a few years of people saying that they don't like hardcovers, they prefer paperbacks, and I guess I haven't seen in recent years people preferring hardcovers. I would say, like, I'm fine with reading a book whatever way I can. I guess I'd say, like, I prefer paperbacks. I like the look of paperbacks better. But one thing that I feel like the loving paperbacks crowd don't talk about with paperbacks is like how, like, after you've opened it for a while and like actually read it, the cover kind of lifts a bit and you kind of have to put it against other books to keep it. And to show you, I've got here my baby names book that, like, you can see is very well used. Yeah, but like, look at that. The cover, it's lifted up, and that happens with paperback books, and people who like paperbacks don't really talk about that. So that's something I consider. I would say I still like prefer paperbacks because I still like the look of them more, but yeah, people got to consider the downsides a bit. So yeah, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this more like chit-chatty, rambling kind of thing. So yeah, that is all. Goodbye.